Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your source material, the dense, the complicated, the absolutely world-ending, and give you the ultimate shortcut to being well-informed.
And today, we are definitely dealing with the world ending.
We really are. We're strapping into the black leather armor for a deep dive into a supernatural apocalypse scenario where the fate of humanity rests on four very cursed, very dangerous riders.
We have a mountain of lore here, yeah. It covers everything from, ancient curses to modern military units that are out there hunting demons.
It's a high-stakes mission for sure.
It truly is, and our sources offer this really unprecedented look behind the curtain of Armageddon. We're dealing with the ultimate figures of prophecy, the Four Horsemen heirs, Risef, Thanatos, and Limos.
And before we even get to the battlefield, what's so critical to understand here is their fundamental nature, right? Their composition and the conflict that it creates.
That's the core of it. Okay, so to really get it, you have to unpack their identity.
Yeah.
These aren't just powerful spirits or, your standard fallen angels.
Yeah.
They're beings that are fundamentally half angel and half demon.
Which is such a volatile combination to begin with. They weren't just created evil.
Not at all. They were powerful beings who were cursed into this role. They're essentially being forced to embody these incredibly destructive forces.
And that curse ties them to a very specific mechanism.
The seal, yeah. Each of the four holds one. And the integrity of that seal determines not only their own fate, but the timing of the end of days.
And this leads directly to the core conflict. They're trapped between two completely contradictory prophecies.
Two paths. And that's really the engine driving this whole thing.
So tell us about those two paths.
Okay, so the first is the biblical prophecy. This is, the path of salvation. It dictates that if they can protect their individual seals from breaking prematurely, they save their souls.
They stay on the side of good?
They retain their moral compass, and they fight on the side of good in the final ultimate battle. Their very existence in this state acts as a sort of temporary break on the apocalypse.
But then you have the opposing rulebook.
The Demonica prophecy. It's basically the demon Bible, and it dictates the exact opposite. If they allow their seals to break now...
Whether it's external pressure or they just give up.
Right, for any reason. If they break, they become purely evil. Completely possessed by the names the world knows them by. Pestilence, war, famine, and death.
And they get a massive power-up, but at the cost of everything they are.
They lose their souls completely, and that second prophecy is what's driving the current global crisis.
Which is where our deep dive really begins.
Our mission today really is to analyze the fallout from this, because the first seal has catastrophically broken.
So one is already down.
One is down, and this leaves the remaining three horsemen scrambling to prevent their own falls, knowing that with each seal that breaks, the timeline just accelerates and the power of the enemy grows exponentially. We are witnessing an internal race against the end of the world.
And we begin our analysis with Ares, the Horseman of War, who is currently the epicenter of this whole crisis. He is frantically trying to prevent his specific trigger, the Agimortis, from causing his fall.
A trigger that's currently tied to a human woman, of all things.
We'll definitely get to her.
Yeah.
But before we get to the human element, we need to understand the source of Ares' rage. His history.
His history it's ancient and deeply tragic. Ares was born, or at least he began his mortal existence, in the 32nd century BC in Egypt.
Wow.
But he wasn't who he thought he was. His mother, a succubus, recognized the power within him and switched him at birth with a human baby.
So for how long did he believe he was human?
For 28 years. He lived, he loved, he fought, all believing he was entirely human.
28 years. That's enough time to forge a completely human identity, to build a life, a family, a moral framework even, and then to have it all just violently shattered.
Absolutely. And that context, that foundation of assumed humanity, is just vital to understanding his internal struggle now.
It has to be.
And the subsequent trauma that defined his eternal existence, the event that truly twisted him and made him vulnerable to the curse of war, it was all related to the hellhounds.
His hatred for them isn't just arbitrary, it's personal.
It's the scar tissue of centuries. And this is where it gets into the kind of detail that really sticks with you.
Okay, so what exactly did the hellhound do?
It was during a brutal demon-human war centuries ago. A hellhound managed to kill his mortal brother and his two young sons.
This entire family.
The loss was so total, so immediate, that it plunged Ares into a state the sources describe as being insane with rage. It broke his rational mind.
And how did that rage translate into the actions that led to him becoming the Horseman of War?
Well, the rage fueled this overwhelming need for revenge, and it completely eroded any sense of tactical caution. Before this, he was a careful commander, focused on minimizing human casualties.
But after the Hellhounds,
After, he stopped caring about strategy that saved lives. His focus became sheer, overwhelming numbers, just achieving quick, devastating victories no matter the cost.
he went from a protector to an indiscriminate destroyer.
Exactly. He started using humans not as allies, but as disposable soldiers. They were cannon fodder for his singular, consuming need for vengeance.
And that recklessness, that's what triggered the curse.
That utter willingness to sacrifice everything, including his humanity and his troops, for a brutal personal objective, that's what eventually led to the curse that made him the Horseman of War.
It's a cruel cosmic joke.
It is. The consequence of his rage and his willingness to embrace destruction became his eternal existence. He became the very thing he deployed.
That foundation of fury, built on a stolen identity and this profound loss, it makes the current situation, where he is desperately fighting against the pull of becoming pure evil, incredibly compelling.
He's not fighting for mankind, not really. He's fighting for that sliver of humanity he lost 5,000 years ago.
And that internal fight is made exponentially harder by the chaos his fallen brother is causing.
Which brings us to the global catastrophe currently unfolding, because one of the four failed to protect his seal.
And the clock in the apocalypse is now measured in global disease outbreaks.
The countdown began when the writer known as Risaf succumbed to the demonic prophecy. He embraced the dark side and is now universally known as Pestilence.
And the sources are very clear on the physics of this. The destruction of one seal doesn't just take one horseman off the board.
No, it causes a cascading failure. It's written to weaken the others and hasten the events that lead to their breakage. Pestilence is actively using this systemic instability to usher in the end of days.
Through these massive unnatural outbreaks of disease.
Worldwide. And we need to emphasize that these are not just, mundane diseases. They're localized, they're intensified, and often completely unprecedented.
Like the malaria in Siberia.
Exactly. The Stiff's material cites specific, terrifying examples. We see a deadly and completely unprecedented malaria outbreak in Siberia, a region that's historically way too cold to sustain the vector. It's a clear sign of environmental manipulation.
And that's not all.
Not even close. Simultaneously, a potent new meningitis strain is emerging in Uganda, just rapidly overwhelming local health systems. And then there's a terrifying bubonic plague flare-up, a disease we thought was largely confined to history surging in the Philippines.
And beyond just human sickness, his impact is hitting the planet's core resources.
Yes, which shows his reach extends beyond just viral or bacterial agents. There are verifiable reports of rivers in Africa running red with poisonous algae, rendering essential water sources completely toxic.
So Pestilence's arrival didn't just bring sickness, it poisoned the land. It contaminated everything.
His impact is broad, it's relentless, and it's designed to induce maximum panic and systemic failure.
So he's not lying low, enjoying his new power. He's actively campaigning to accelerate the apocalypse. What's the end game here? What is driving this intense rush?
It's purely self-serving. Supremacy and eternal power. He is trying to gain first choice of the realms once the Earth and Sheol, the demon realm, merge.
So it's a land grab.
It's the ultimate land grab. The theory goes that the horseman who proves the worthiest to the Dark Lord gets first pick of the resulting 4 quadrants of misery, power, and pleasure. Pestilence wants to lock down the best territory before his siblings even have a chance to turn.
And his strategy for achieving this involves a direct, systematic attack on his remaining siblings' ability to survive. He's eliminating their safety net.
He is. He is hunting down and slaughtering unfallen angels. Now, these are earthbound fallen angels who, critically, haven't yet entered Sheol and fully committed to the dark side.
And they're the only beings besides humans who can host an Agimortis.
Because they possess this unique hybrid nature. So if Pestilence eliminates all the unfallen, the remaining horsemen are forced into an impossible choice.
Let their seals break immediately, or transfer the Agimortis to a human.
Which, as we'll discuss, is an extremely risky and usually fatal last resort. Our sources note, Pestilence slaughtered 6 unfallen in just 2 days.
That's insane.
It caused scores more to flee to Sheol and just become true fallen to escape him. He's essentially forcing his siblings to compromise their moral positions or face inevitable doom.
That is tactical genius, if terrifying. But he's also looking for an explicit weapon, isn't he? To take them out entirely.
That's the ultimate goal, the dagger deliverance. This weapon was specifically forged to destroy a horseman, but with one critical safeguard.
It can only destroy a horseman if it's wielded by one of their siblings?
Right. Pestilence knows he can't trust Thanatos or Limos, so he's trying to seize it for himself before they realize its true power.
And to find it, he's engaging in some incredibly brutal information gathering.
He is torturing Guardians of the Aegis, the Human Warrior Society, for any scrap of information on the dagger's location. This indicates that the human resistance is a crucial link in the chain. They have knowledge he can't get through demonic means alone.
This all sounds like a very sophisticated operation, far beyond what you'd expect from just a chaos-spreading demon. He must have reliable intelligence.
He does, and this is perhaps one of the most disheartening revelations in the sources.
There's a mole.
A big one. Pestilence is receiving continuous high-quality intel from a turncoat Aegis member named David. And what's truly shocking, and what explains the depth of his access, is that David is the son of an Aegis elder.
A betrayal at the highest level of the human resistance.
It's a catastrophic compromise. This level of internal intelligence just significantly undermines the Aegis' ability to protect key assets and counter Pestilence's moves.
Is he a true believer? Or is he being coerced?
The sources say David is acting out of fear. Pestilence is actively threatening him with immense torture if that steady stream of useful intel dries up. But either way, it explains how Pestilence is always a step ahead of Ares and his allies.
So the threat is clear, and Ares is the next confirmed target. But the countdown to war's fall is currently tied to the fragile lifespan of a human woman.
Which brings us to the most complex part of this story, the human Agimortis host.
The Agimortis, the symbol that triggers a horseman's fall if it's destroyed, was branded onto a human named Cara Thornhart.
And this was not natural. It was transferred by the fallen angel Cestial.
What was Cestial's motivation for making such a reckless transfer?
Desperation, most likely. The angel probably transferred the trigger as a protective measure, specifically to keep Ares immobile and potentially delay his fall. He knew Pestilence wouldn't immediately hunt a human host, but the plan was deeply flawed.
Because of the inherent danger to the human.
Exactly. This brings us to the critical ticking timeline. Humans are absolutely not meant to host the Agimortis. The power infusion, the sheer demonic energy, it usually kills an immortal host within 48 hours.
And the brand itself is the physical stopwatch.
It is. It started as a vivid, painful crimson color, and as it fades toward her normal skin tone, Cara is counting down her final hours. If the brand disappears, the Agimortis is destroyed, Ares' seal breaks, and he becomes fully evil. Their lives are completely intertwined.
So Ares' reaction to finding this human countdown clock was immediate and drastic. He staged a whole scene to hide her.
He had to. He needed to find her and disappear her instantly before Pestilence, or critically, the Aegis RXR unit got to her.
He wiped her memory.
He orchestrated a detailed cover story, something about a shot glass and a dusty bottle of vodka, then performed a mind wipe on her memories of the night he kidnapped her. This wasn't just to hide his actions, but to preserve her sanity.
Wait, hold on. Why was he hiding her from the Aegis? Aren't they the good guys?
They are, but the Aegis operates on the philosophy that the end justifies the means. If they found a human with an Agimortis, their immediate pragmatic solution would be to neutralize the human to deny the trigger to Pestilence.
Even if it meant risking Ares' soul.
Exactly. Ares knew the human demon slayers of the RXR unit were tracking her because she was near a hellhound, and he needed to secure her before they deemed her a threat.
But the twist here is that Cara has somehow survived beyond that fatal 48-hour limit. If the biology says she should be dead, what is keeping her alive?
It's a bizarre and deeply ironic twist, and it's tied directly to Ares' greatest trauma.
The hellhounds.
Cara is bonded to a powerful hellhound named Hal, who's also known as the Chaos Eater. This unique bond occurred after she, being a holistic vet, treated the injured hound.
And as thanks.
As thanks, Hal gave her the hell's kiss a lick on the mouth that the sources note tasted like rotten fish, which bonded them and initiated a powerful, life-sustaining connection to the supernatural world.
So this connection gives her the life force she needs to stave off the Agimortis' lethal effects.
That's the theory. It provides her with enhancements that keep her alive.
Let me just make sure I have this straight. The creature Ares hates more than any other being in the universe. The creature that killed his brother and sons is literally the lifeline keeping his seal from breaking.
It is the ultimate paradox. That's a genius piece of narrative irony.
It really is. And Cara herself is uniquely suited, or unsuited, for this role because of her own inherent abilities.
She's not just a vet, no. She is revealed to be a totem priestess, an animal psychic, and a descendant of the mythical Aosi, or fairies,
Which grants her the ability to heal animals.
and crucially, animal-based demons. This power is so potent it even works on Ares' warhorse battle. She begins to heal and bond with him, and the horse, which is an extension of Ares' own power, responds to her, drawing them closer together.
The Horseman of War, who lost his sanity over a hellhound, now finds the only thing keeping him from eternal damnation is an animal psychic bonded to his mortal enemy.
And this level of contradiction has physical consequences for Ares.
It messes with his power.
It creates a debilitating internal paradox that manifests physically. Proximity to Cara literally drains Ares' power, his specialized leather armor.
Which is made from what, drunty demon hide?
Yes, and it normally helps shield him from human emotion, but around her it becomes unstable. The sources say it goes soft and his senses dull, makes him clumsy, less effective as a warrior.
Because the curse is at war with the feeling of peace she brings.
Precisely. His emotional state is directly tied to his physical capability. If he feels peace, he becomes vulnerable.
So Ares is fundamentally powered by conflict, by the raw energy of violence. Feeling anything like peace or deep, tender emotion is like removing the fuel from his engine.
It makes him physically weaker and dulls the instincts that have kept him alive for millennia.
Yet despite the physical drain, she also seems to bring him something he hasn't experienced since before he became war.
He admits she brings him completely unexpected and, frankly, uncomfortable emotions. The main one is guilt. Guilt for kidnapping her, for putting her in this impossible position.
And for the violence he represents.
Yes. But even more profoundly, she offers him a deep sense of peace, a feeling he hasn't experienced since he realized he wasn't human. It's a direct conflict between his function as war, which demands chaos, and his developing feelings for her, which provide calm.
That peace is his weakness, but it's also his anchor. It's a terrifying choice he has to make every moment they are together.
And this brings us to the deeper psychological conflict embedded in his very being, the curse of war itself. His existence physically affects the human population.
He drives them to conflict. That's his central, unavoidable struggle. He is war incarnate. His aura compels nearby humans to become aggressive and fight.
And if he doesn't physically release that tension, it just spills out into the human world as conflict.
Plus, his succubus heritage.
Right, from his mother. He's constantly driven toward physical release, either through combat or sex. He tells Cara directly, "Violence excites me," and he admits his sexual nature mirrors his fighting style.
I fuck like I fight.
Until the other person is completely subdued and begging for mercy. The longer he goes without this physical release, the farther the chaos spreads in the human world. He is a walking time bomb of psychological and physical aggression.
And Cara, the human thrust into his world, is exactly the wrong person to deal with this because of her own profound, suppressed trauma.
Her vulnerability is extreme. She suffered a horrific home invasion 2 years prior. She was tied up, her boyfriend was beaten.
And in a desperate attempt to defend herself, she inadvertently used her power.
She used her powerful, uncontrollable, sinister ability on one of the attackers and killed him. The official police report called it a heart attack, but she knows the truth.
And that guilt led her to actively suppress her gift.
Exactly. She developed a profound fear of violence and her own capacity for it. She fears she's a monster. She's grappling with the guilt of having killed someone, even in self-defense.
Which makes her close proximity to Ares, the embodiment of violence, incredibly volatile.
He is essentially triggering her worst memories just by existing near her. She's being pulled toward the very thing she fears most: violence and the loss of control.
It's the ultimate mismatch. The embodiment of pure violence paired with a human who fears her own capacity for violence, kept alive only by a hellhound bond. It's astonishing that this relationship hasn't already broken his seal.
To understand the fight against Pestilence, though, we have to recognize that Ares isn't fighting alone. But his allies, both human and supernatural, are dealing with their own crushing vulnerabilities.
Okay, so we need to dedicate some time to the other horsemen. They aren't just side characters, they're critical linchpins.
Absolutely. Let's start with Thanatos, or Death.
In the classic lore, Death is often the most terrifying. But our sources depict him as the calmest, maybe the most controlled, yet still fundamentally cursed.
He is, but his control comes at a profound cost. Thanatos is deeply, viscerally addicted to the pain and pleasure derived from tattoos and piercings.
This isn't just cosmetic for him.
No, it's his primary coping mechanism for the eternal curse of death. His tattoo artist, a woman named Aurelia, is the only one who can facilitate this for him.
So how does inking himself help mitigate the constant stress of being death?
Well, the process serves a unique psychological function because Thanatos is involuntarily pulled into every major mass death event, wars, plagues, disasters. His mind is constantly haunted by the memories and images of those who died.
I can't even imagine.
So Aurelia takes those traumatic scenes of death out of his head and literally relocates them onto his skin.
He externalizes the trauma.
By making it physical and permanent, it prevents those terrifying visions from consuming him internally. The pain of the needle also acts as a distraction from the constant psychic scream of the dying.
That is a staggering psychological burden. And his seal, it's shockingly intimate and personal.
Absolutely. While Ares' seal is external, Thanatos' seal is his virginity.
His virginity is serious.
Seriously. This is why he avoids sex at all costs, even though he is constantly in situations designed to tempt him and break him. Pestilence, for instance, knew this vulnerability.
And he sent a succubus after him.
A highly manipulative one, specifically to try and break him to force his fall. The constant, aggressive need to abstain from an essential part of his existence just adds another layer of mental pressure.
So he's not only dealing with external threats, but he's fighting his own biology and this constant exposure to carnage. You mentioned he's involuntarily pulled into areas of large-scale death.
Yes. If a conflict, disaster, or pandemic reaches a certain scale, a critical mass of fatalities, Thanatos is transported there against his will. He cannot choose to sit out a major conflict. His curse forces him to witness and be present at every monumental tragedy.
It's a cool way to force the embodiment of death to remain eternally relevant and eternally traumatized.
It is. Now, moving on to Limos, the Horseman of Famine. She sounds like she handles stress by staying extremely busy.
She's the aggressive ADD horseman.
That's how she's characterized. She copes with her eternal curse by distracting herself with constant activity, bright colors, consuming excessive sugary drinks, anything to keep her mind off the gnawing emptiness of famine.
But she's carrying a massive, dangerous secret about the one weapon that can kill them all.
Deliverance. Her brothers believe the Templars lost the dagger centuries ago.
But that's a lie.
That's the lie they all operate under. Limos reveals that she stole the dagger from the Templars centuries ago. This wasn't an act of aggression, though. It was a desperate attempt at self-preservation.
She didn't want the weapon in anyone's hands.
Especially not her own. She was actually relieved when the Aegis recovered it during the Great Famine because she believed it was finally safe and out of her responsibility. Her desire to keep the dagger out of play shows this deep, underlying fear of her own violent potential.
And now Pestilence is exploiting her vulnerabilities, going beyond just the dagger.
This is the truly devastating threat. Pestilence knows not only that she stole the dagger, but he knows her other one, the big one.
A secret so bad.
So severe, the sources indicate that merely mentioning it renders her speechless, causes her blood to congeal, and threatens to unravel everything she holds dear. It suggests a past action or failure so catastrophic that if Pestilence spills it to her siblings,
She could be immediately rejected, isolated, maybe even forced to break her own seal out of shame.
it's powerful leverage. So Pestilence has a hook in all three of them: Thanatos through temptation, Ares through Cara, and Limos through blackmail.
Okay, let's pivot to the mortal counterforce, the Aegis. Who are these human warriors, and how are they relevant in all this?
The Aegis is the ancient society of human warriors dedicated to protecting the world from demonic forces. But what makes them tactically relevant now is their recent alliance with the U.S. Army Paranormal Unit, the RXR.
So you have ancient knowledge in magic combined with modern military expertise.
It's a powerful combination. They are the tactical muscle. And the sources focus on two key figures in this combined force.
Kynan and Eric Wagner.
Indispensable. Kynan is crucial because he possesses angel blood. It's a rare and powerful inheritance that makes him charmed and untouchable by most standard demons.
And critically, this lets him travel through the Harrow Gates,
The demonic portals, yes, he can travel through them while conscious.
which is an incredible tactical advantage. Most humans who try that are either shredded or driven instantly mad. He's a walking, conscious teleportation device for the good side.
Precisely. It allows him to carry out missions and retrieve objects from deep within enemy territory. And Eric Wagner, he's the RXR representative bringing the military discipline. He's skeptical but effective.
But it's his connections that really matter.
That's the key. His sister is a werewolf, and his in-laws are powerful demons from Underworld General. This pedigree is exactly why Reaver, the Angel Watcher, specifically wanted Arik in the meeting with the Horsemen.
It's proof that the Aegis isn't just fanatical about killing all supernatural beings.
Exactly. Arik can negotiate. He can act as a bridge of trust between the human resistance and the demonic angelic horsemen.
And speaking of assets, let's go back to Deliverance. The Aegis has made sure that if Pestilence finds it, he can't actually use it.
They didn't just recover the dagger. They enhanced it and secured it behind a magical lock. Kynan was the one dispatched to retrieve it.
From a hidden monastery in Spain.
Where past AG had secured it. They realized the weapon was too dangerous to just hide in a vault. So they placed it in a box that could only be opened by someone with angel blood.
Which means only Kynan can get to it.
It ensures that the only people who could access the ultimate anti-horseman weapon were the good guys, while making it untouchable by the vast majority of evil entities, including Pestilence, who is pure demon now.
It's a genius piece of magical engineering that relies entirely on Kynan's unique heritage.
It really is.
Finally, we have to discuss the observers, who are not supposed to intervene. The Watchers. They're keeping score, maintaining a dangerous neutrality.
The Watchers are critical monitors,
Yeah.
enforcing the cosmic rules. You've got Reaver, the good angel, who actually spent time as a fallen angel before regaining his standing.
Which makes him a more pragmatic player for Team Heaven.
And then there's Harvester, the evil fallen angel, who plays for Team Sheol. Their agreement dictates they cannot assist either side directly. They have to walk an extremely fine line.
But Harvester seems to have crossed that line multiple times in her zeal to start the apocalypse.
She definitely has been trying to force the issue. She tried to accelerate things by intentionally collapsing a mountain to destroy Pestilence's old residence.
Trying to get him off his throne and back to work?
Essentially. She was trying to make him focus on destroying the world, rather than just enjoying his new status. She also physically attacked Reaver, tumbling down an icy cliff with him just to keep him out of the way. She is ruthlessly dedicated to the demonic prophecy.
And Reaver, despite being the good angel, gives Cara a pretty chilling warning about Ares, one that contradicts everything she holds dear.
He tells her the truth of high-stakes conflict. He says Ares follows no rules because to Ares, the end justifies the means.
He'll sacrifice anything and anyone.
Including the innocent, if he believes it serves the ultimate objective of preventing Sheol's total dominance. Reaver, who is a special ops angel himself, tells Cara she must be prepared to make sacrifices, to do things that go against every moral fiber she has if she wants to survive this war.
That is a ruthless, pragmatic soldier's view that just underscores how dangerous her position is, even under Ares' protection.
It sets the stage perfectly. We have Ares, who needs peace but is war. We have the human host, who fears violence but is forced into conflict. And we have the allies, all compromised by secrets and curses.
And now, let's move into the confrontation, where all these elements finally collide.
All these strategic elements, the weakened seals, the fragile alliance, the ticking clock, they all converge in a massive confrontation engineered by Pestilence to break Ares.
And the trigger for that confrontation is, funnily enough, Cara's unexpected success at mediating Ares' greatest psychological rift, his hatred for the hellhounds.
Yes, the Hellhound truce. This is the first time we see Cara fully embrace her totem priestess power. She mediates a truce between Ares and the Hellhound Chaos Hall by forcing a confrontation of the past.
She reveals the truth.
That Chaos Hall was young, bringing his first litter out of Sheol to hunt rats during the Demon-Human War, and Ares, in his grief-fueled, insane rage over his own family's death,
Killed Chaos's mate and pups. He killed the Hellhound's family, and the Hellhound killed his. It's a mirrored tragedy.
It is, and it allows Ares to finally understand, if not forgive, Chaos's single-minded desire for revenge. They agree to a temporary truce based on mutual loss and the common enemy, Pestilence.
This truce is a massive emotional step for Ares.
It forces him to accept the creature he swore to destroy as an ally.
But Pestilence, being the master strategist, immediately uses this alliance against them.
He's always a step ahead. He immediately captures Hal Chaos, intending to torture him to death to break Cara's bond. If the bond breaks, Cara dies within minutes, which instantly destroys the Agimortis, breaks Ares' seal, and turns him evil.
So he forces the battle onto his home turf.
Onto the Sith blood dirt in Sheol, the demon realm, where he has a strategic home field advantage. And his tactical superiority is demonstrated immediately.
He neutralizes Ares' unique abilities.
Absolutely. Ares typically has the power to open personal gates instantly, which gives him maximum mobility. Pestilence uses his knowledge of the Sith blood dirt's properties to neutralize that ability,
forcing them to use the stationary harrow gates.
which is a predictable exit route and allows Pestilence to set a deadly trap. At the point of entry and exit, he deployed vapor wraiths, these wispy, giant, shark-toothed beasts bound magically to the arrow gates to block any escape.
And he had something for their charmed allies, too.
He employed specialized fallen angels like the highly antagonistic Zurziel, who were one of the few beings capable of bypassing the protection offered by Kainan's angel blood. So they neutralized Kainan and Wraith. It was a well-thought-out, layered defense designed to grind them all down.
The battle is brutal, and it culminates in Pestilence using Cara, not a weapon, to break Ares once and for all.
He achieves his goal of capturing her. He brings a naked, bruised Cara into his lair, humiliating her, shoving her to the dirt floor in front of a chained-up Ares.
It's pure psychological warfare.
He intends to let her death do the work to break Ares' seal through grief, helplessness, and white-hot rage, forcing his turn to pure evil. He wants Ares to witness the consequence of his newfound peace.
But Cara, facing absolute terror and the imminent death of the man she loves, she finally reconciles with the power she had spent 2 years suppressing.
It's a defining, visceral moment. She's forced to kill a demon commander to save Ares during their escape attempt. She uses a serrated dagger that had been used against her, and she finds the strength.
She reconciles with her own capacity for necessary violence.
The source material notes this is a massive breakthrough for her. She doesn't regret the act. She realizes she would do it again instantly to save him. She accepts that sometimes violence is the only path to peace.
And this act, this use of necessary violence, it fundamentally changes Ares' perception of her and of himself.
It strips away all the artifice. When he realizes she's alive and she apologizes to him for being selfish by worrying about him instead of her own trauma, he drops his warrior facade. He admits his deepest fear.
I can't lose you.
The vulnerability he's carried for millennia, this moment of powerful peace and tenderness right after she committed a violent act to save him, stands in stark contrast to his usual need to dominate and fuck like he fights. For the first time, he's just present and scared, not enraged.
The horsemen survive the immediate confrontation, but their war horses, the essential extensions of their power and speed, were severely wounded.
Nearly fatal. And the resolution comes full circle through Cara's true purpose. She uses her full totem priestess power to heal the devastating injuries inflicted on Ares' warhorse, Battle, and Thanatos' horse, Styx.
She just lets the power flow.
Like a river, closing their grievous wounds, pushing embedded weapons out of their flesh, and completely regenerating their bodies from the point of death.
In this act, healing the engines of war and death, it grants her ultimate recognition in their supernatural hierarchy.
It's a profound shift in status. Thanatos, the reserved, death-obsessed warrior who avoids emotion, drops to one knee before her,
Honoring her.
honoring her as a respected totem priestess and descendant of the AOC. This elevation is huge. She has been accepted as a formidable equal by the Horseman of Death himself, not merely as Ares' human accessory.
So the immediate outcome is a victory. Pestilence is temporarily defeated, the remaining seals are safe. But Ares recognizes that the peace Cara brings is more powerful and more vital than his war curse.
He realizes that being with her doesn't just drain him. It gives him a different kind of strength, calm, and purpose. He doesn't lose abilities. He gains control.
And what is his ultimate expression of this profound realization?
Recognizing the depth of their connection and honoring her human traditions, he proposes marriage on the beach near his Greek stronghold.
He drops to one knee.
A human custom he previously thought was stupid and beneath the Horsemen of War.
That moment, him kneeling, it summarizes the entire arc. The man who embodies unchecked rage bows to the fragile human who taught him peace.
He had to do it. The sources clearly show the intense, visceral fear he felt when he thought he was losing her. That terror was far more potent than any fear he had of battle or the end of the world. That fear drove him to accept a bond of vulnerability, which is the only thing that can truly combat the curse of war.
We have covered so much ground today, analyzing the intersection of ancient prophecy, personal trauma, and modern warfare. Let's synthesize the core knowledge nuggets you need to walk away with.
Okay, first, reiterate the central tension. The apocalypse is driven by internal strife horsemen against horsemen. Pestilence's choice to break his seal created that state of cascading failure, instantly weakening the others and turning a philosophical conflict into a brutal, immediate race against time.
Second, remember the essential mechanisms that drove Ares' survival. The Agimortis is a deadly stopwatch for human hosts. Cara survived that fatal 48-hour limit only because of the rare hellhound bond with Hal Chaos.
A supreme irony for Ares, yes, which provided her immunity and life force. Third, the paradoxical nature of Ares' curse is key to his character arc. He is defined by violence and desire, the man who fucks like he fights, yet he finds his only true strength and peace through his vulnerable connection to Cara.
The woman who hates violence and whose presence physically drains his war-fueled power.
Exactly. Fourth, don't overlook the crucial role of the supporting cast. The Aegis' use of Kainen's angel blood to secure the enhanced dagger deliverance is a tactical masterstroke.
And the vulnerabilities of Thanatos, his virginity seal and tattoos, and Limos, her big secret, are the critical pressure points Pestilence is absolutely going to target next.
And finally, a small but powerful moment of hope emerges from all the chaos. Kainen, the charmed Aegis warrior, and his demon wife, Gem, name their new baby girl, Dawn.
A symbolic gesture of the new beginning they are all fighting for, even as the world edges toward darkness. It's a literal sign that life and hope persist, even when you're facing Armageddon.
It's fascinating how the sources conclude this chapter. Ares, the literal embodiment of war and destruction, who killed his own family out of rage and used humans as disposable fodder, finds his life saved, his power balanced, and his future secured not through a tactical victory or an infusion of demonic power, but through love and vulnerability.
It really forces us to redefine what strength means in this universe. Ares' core identity as a warrior demands dominance and destruction, but those traits nearly broke his seal and led to his downfall.
It was the acceptance of softness, of human emotion, feelings of guilt and peace, that ultimately gave him the will and the necessary allies to survive.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner? If we look at this world where supernatural laws reign supreme, we see a warrior defined by conflict being saved by the very antithesis of his nature.
Here is a final provocative thought to consider. The sources show that Ares, the embodiment of war, finds his greatest strength and peace not in battle or his demonic abilities, but through his vulnerable connection to a fragile human, Cara.
If the only thing holding back the apocalypse is a reluctant warrior's ability to prioritize love and peace over his inherent drive for violence, what does that say about the true definition of war in this complex supernatural world?
Is the ultimate strength of war found not in the ability to destroy, but in the radical capacity to change?
Powerful stuff. The fight for the seals continues, and we'll be here to decode every agonizing minute of it. Thank you for joining the deep dive.